Alright. Hello! It's unusual for me to be streaming anything D&D related on Thursday. Not anymore, I guess, now that I have to stream for our Thursday game with Joseph. But, I wanted to help a friend, see if they are going to enjoy some D&D5e and see if I can't get them a group to play with. So I'd like everybody to meet my friend Sirius.
How do you do?
Whom I met through Star Wars fandom, actually, with the Starfighter Assault game in Battlefront 2. You told me that you haven't played D&D in a dozen or so years, and you don't even remember what edition that it was you played last. I speculate that it's 3.5.
Something like that, yeah.
5th edition, I like to say, is like 3.5, but it's been upgraded with all the bells and whistles that 4th edition came up with. So they kind of just, 4th edition streamlined a lot of stuff and removed a lot of things that were kind of like excess bulk. But 5th edition kind of scooped some of those, tweaked them a little bit, and put them back in just to give more variety. So it shouldn't be terribly different from what you've experienced before. So jumping right into it, I worked with you the other day, and we made you a first-level paladin. What do you want to tell me about Ordwin?
Well, Ordwin is a half-elf paladin, as we discussed before. He is on an adventure to try and retrieve or otherwise save his family from a necromancer that had turned them into the undead, along with many of his family. And he had joined with the goddess Sehanine, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yep.
Considering they're natural enemies of the undead, and is hoping to exact some vengeance as well as bring them back.
Now there are...
Without going too far down the vengeful path.
I see. I suppose that, with dipping enough of your toe into vengeance, you come out a little tarnished. So he's trying to avoid that.
Precisely. One who wants monsters cannot turn into one himself.
Mm-hmm. Although I would say, I would remind you that there are some that believe that only a monster can fight monsters.
The old adage of, to defeat one evil, you must sometimes use another.
Indeed. Not that that says anything about this particular character, but something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
So, after the loss of Ordwin's family to this necromancer, the despair that this put him through, the pain and anguish of that moment, he sought out the following of Sehanine, as she too rails against the undead. She has several other tenets, which I imagine he found appealing, as primarily she is the goddess of the moon, and she is known to many of this world as a goddess of self-actualization, or how do I want to put it? Choosing your path. She doesn't really quibble over whether you're good or you're evil. She believes that everybody is a little of both, and wants all of her followers to try and walk that middle road, being what they need to be in order to become their best self, without straying too far into good or evil. She is, as you said, against necromancy and the undead. And she is a proponent of free love.
Which is a very good thing.
We can start, actually, with a kind of unusual first roll. But if you give me a religion roll, so you will take your 20-sided die, roll that, and then add your the number that it says on the line for your skill, religion. Tell me what the total is.
Okay, and which one do I click to roll on this one?
If you want to just roll a d20 here, Over in the left, you should see a string of buttons, and the second from the bottom is a die. And if you hover over that, you should be able to click 1d20, and it should do that.
Okay, gotcha. I think so.
You can also type in chat /R 1d20. It's another way of accomplishing the same thing.
Okay. /RD20. There we go.
I guess it's /. I have always known that one as \. Yeah, see, I told you wrong. That one's the \. I meant to say /.
Okay. It said unrecognized command for the other one, so...
Oh, you gotta put a space after R.
Oh, gotcha.
My code here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a 7 on the die, plus whatever your religion score is.
Religion score is a 2, so that would be a 9.
A 9. Okay. So, you are aware that when people speak of Sayanine, there are those who believe her to be a little too passive, a little too middle of the road. You also know that many of them will utter her name in the same breath as Corellin, or Corellin Larethian, and Lolth. They seem to speak of these names, these three names, together when they talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you know.
Somewhat ominous. I wonder what this could mean.
Indeed. So, after seeking out the temple of Sayanine and training to be a warrior in her name, you then took your newfound strength and set out into the world, seeking allies and seeking magics that might help you restore your family. Or, at worst, simply a way to exact some revenge upon the person who took them from you. In your travels, you crossed many lands that you would consider far from your home, though perhaps this is simply because you lack the perspective of a more wizened person. You came across a great many different towns, villages, even cities, and saw many different ways of life. In each, you would have sought out places where adventurers might gather, and in many of these places, especially within the cities, you would find yourself frowned upon or turned away at some doors, as many places do not like adventurers and the trouble they tend to bring. Despite your assurances that you don't mean harm and that you're simply looking for allies, many places like this tend to turn you away. You travel for several weeks in this way, bumming rides and carriages, just trying to get to new places where people who might share your ideals would gather. And I will say that you were doing this in summer. And it has been warm, balmy, humid, even difficult to travel for long periods of time during the day due to the heat. And it is upon this latest leg of your journey, as you wander, looking for the next town, your map telling you that there should be a place where you can rest the evening out here, that you find yourself in a very unseasonable blizzard. The land around you covered and obscured in heavy white snow.
Most unusual for summer, this is.
Incredibly. You wander for a couple hours, wondering what could be causing this storm, this anomaly, and wondering if it's even worth trying to find this town in such difficult conditions, or if you would be better off turning back and escaping the storm. When light among the wall of white catches your eye, you see the glimmer of fires.
What could this be up ahead?
As you continue pressing on through the snow, your boots crunching through layers of ice, and you find yourself knee-deep, you do approach what appears, though visibility is poor, to be a small village. You can see the lights of candles or hearths burning from windows around you, though in most cases you can barely see the silhouettes of the houses, and you can see one large open flame ahead. You also notice here that it seems the snow has been moved recently, as you can, surprisingly, see the ground. As you get closer to this open bonfire, you find yourself standing beneath the wooden archway between two rock outcroppings that seems to mark the entrance to the village, and beyond you can see the silhouettes of some 4 or 5 humanoids moving in the gale.
Most ominous. A snowy village in the middle of summer. Figures outlying this village. What lies ahead, I wonder? Perhaps it would be best if I sought out help in this particular situation. I shall go and try to seek assistance as best I can.
Right. Okay, one moment to grab my notebook. I realize I didn't pick it up.
No worries.
Sorry about that. I got all my other ducks in a row, and I forgot to grab my notebook.
Not to worry.
It contains all my NPC names. Motivations.
You mustn't lose that, then.
Let's see here. Okay. You head through the archway. You may move yourself like so, the town, and toward the fire. As you move in, you can see that there are heavily hooded and fur-clothed persons, about 3 of them at this time, moving about the fire. They seem to be shuffling off back toward dwellings around the flame. Several of them appear to be carrying items, perhaps wood for hearths, or bundles of food or clothing. But they do all seem to be busy, and none of them seems to have noticed you at this time.
In this case, I would offer to assist if necessary.
Okay. So there are, as I said, 3 people. Because they're so heavily clad and visibility is poor, it's not you're not really able to tell like what race or gender they might be, but you can pick one of the 3 and try to offer some help. You do see one person who appears to be struggling with a large bundle of what appears to be wood and kindling sticks, perhaps for their hearth. Every now and then something will fall off and they'll have to stoop and try and pick it back up and add it to their pile.
In that case, is he the one nearest? Is he or she the nearest one to the fire?
Yes.
In that case, I will move in to assist.
Okay.
And offer to help.
You crunch your way up through the falling snow, your boots scuffing against the newly brushed cobbles on the ground, and you reach out and raise your voice to try to get their attention. What do you say, as they are not currently looking at you?
I say, you there! Are you in need of assistance?
The person is going to seem to stop and grab hold of the bundle, trying to make sure nothing else falls. But two logs do tumble off as they stop, and they sigh and they slowly turn. They say, in a feminine voice, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. You scared me there a bit. My, you're not who I thought you were. Are you a traveler?"
Indeed I am. I apologize for startling you.
That's,
May I offer you my assistance?
She seems to be lost, staring at you. You can see that she has, she appears to be, at least in her bundled state, to be a woman and to be human. She seems to have, tanned skin, as though having spent a lot of time working in the sun, but the rest of her is all covered up in bulky clothing, so she could be, muscular, she could be slight, but you can't really tell. She is carrying quite the bundle of wood, so she does not appear to be weak. She says, she spends a moment, staring at you, really seeming to try and, figure out if she's, seeing things or not, before she seems to recollect herself and say, sure, please. If you could grab what I've dropped, I'm just taking it to my home.
Of course, madam.
Please, you can call me Vanessa.
Very good, Vanessa. I shall assist you any way I can.
Appreciate that. You help her take the logs to her home. She seems to have the lion's share of it under control, and it's no difficulty for you to pick up the two that have dropped. You do find that you feel as though you are ill-prepared for the cold here, and even in the presence of the large bonfire, you swear it's gotten colder since the storm started.
Has the weather... Sorry. I was going to say, has the weather always been this bitter in this area?
Oh, you mean our little blizzard?
Yes, indeed, Miss Vanessa. Lady Vanessa.
Seems to be, she's stopped, mid-reaching to open the door. She's just, resting her hand on the handle to pull it open. As she says, it's, actually, no, this is incredibly strange. Here, why don't you help me get these inside? And, I've got some questions for you, so why don't we, trade?
Of course, my lady.
She directs you into her home. It seems to be a, moderately sized, perhaps, containing 3 rooms in total. The large central room that you've entered in contains a cooking pit with a vent in the ceiling, and then there's 2 doors leading off, one on either side. You can imagine that one leads to where she probably sleeps. You're not sure what the other might be for. She sets the wood down in a great pile near the cooking pit to let it dry, and directs you to do the same before she begins removing, the bulkiest of her outer layers, hat and hood, scarf and gloves.
Mm-hmm.
As she finishes laying these by the fire, she says, "You seem improperly dressed for the season."
Indeed I am, madame. The trouble was I was not expecting a blizzard of these conditions. Typically outside of the area, it is far warmer than it is in these environs.
She smiles at this and says, "Yes, I can understand that. I hadn't had to pull out my winter clothes until, a couple of weeks ago, actually. We were enjoying a nice summer and beginning the, to plant, the summer, beginning the summer planting season. And this kind of interrupted that. I'm also worried the effect it's going to have on the ones we planted in spring." Where are you from?
I hail from a faraway land from here. Originally, my family and I would start over. I apologize.
Go for it.
I'm a little out of it today. Sorry.
There's no requirement to get it in one go.
No worries. Originally not from these parts, madam. My family and I lived in a large commune a long time ago. Unfortunately, they have since perished.
Oh. Well, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. I'm not sure how much hospitality Birchwood has to offer you, but, I mean, as long as you don't mean harm, I wouldn't mind, sharing what I have, at least in exchange for asking some questions.
Of course, madam. I mean no harm whatsoever. I'm simply here looking for information, allies, and resources, and I will do my share to help out in return.
She seems to be eyeing the haft of the maul on your back. Got that right. No, you have a, I got that wrong. I'm thinking of another character I just built the other day. You had a glaive.
Mm-hmm.
So, the glaive that you have strapped to your back. It says, well,
madam, I apologize. If that is what you're concerned about, I shall lay it down at once. And then I go to lay it down in front as if to show that I intend no harm whatsoever.
as you do remove it from the binds on your back, she does sort of take an extra step away, just in case. You lay it on the ground, and she seems to let go of a held breath and say, "We don't get many visitors out this way, and life here tends to leave you a bit wary of people who travel with such weapons, especially one as large as that."
I certainly understand, madame. It is a fighting style I was trained in during my time with still trying to use the pronunciation of the goddess Seanine.
Seanine.
I had trained to become a paladin.
Oh. Oh, so you're a follower of Seanine.
Indeed I am, madam.
I do find myself indebted to the goddess of the moon time to time, so I should say that relieves me some to hear. Mostly in a place like this, we tend to pray that Melora lets us keep our homes. Unfortunately, sometimes that means we have to pit Arathis against her.
Melora? Should I roll for religion on this one, or?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
He seems to be rattling off some names that you know you've been taught about, but we'll search your memories to see how much you've learned.
And which dice should I roll for this one?
A d20. So for D&D, it's pretty much like 98% of the time you're rolling a d20.
Got it. 7 plus 9 once again.
Okay, it really likes to give you sevens.
Yes, plus 2 I should say, so that's a 9 once again for the roll.
You're not exactly sure of the ins and outs, but you know that your time at the temple did teach you about many of the gods, at least topically. So you are aware that Melora and Arathis are two goddesses who are in many ways diametrically opposed. Melora being the goddess of nature, and Arathis being the goddess of civilization.
And which one was the one she had mentioned before, the one that she has to pay tribute to on occasion?
She had said that she sometimes pays tribute to Sayanine.
Gotcha,
And then she said that generally out here worship is split between Melara and Arathis, being that they're out beyond the confines of civilization, out in nature, but they are still unto themselves a civilization, which Arathis would seek to preserve.
Gotcha.
So she's given you a bit of a window into the conflict between two of the gods of the Pantheon, and the nature of life, especially humanoid life, which is contradiction at its heart, as they worship both deities who seek opposite things. Because they benefit them alternately.
Most ominous.
Oh, I don't think it's too different for other people who live out here away from the walls of the city. If you're gathering together with others, it's pretty normal to send a prayer up to Arathis. In place of walls, you can hope for a blessing from her. But at the same time, you want to keep the forest animals, safe and out of your homes. And so, Melara can be helpful. If she is appeased properly, if we cut trees and hunt in ways that do not offend her. And so it's good to know what she wants, and so prayers to her are helpful.
Of course, my lady.
I suspect you're, from a more... You'd said a commune, but, you've spent some time between there in cities.
Indeed I have. City life is far different from what I was used to over on the commune. So many different races, so many different peoples, getting together, sometimes opposed, so many religions about as well.
I imagine it can be quite chaotic.
Chaotic yet very enjoyable as well.
I admit to being jealous of the ability to go and see it. The life out here is demanding, and... well... I don't necessarily have the currency of the city, as I think they would say.
I understand.
But my story isn't why you're here. You're looking for a place to stay.
Indeed I am, as well as information and resources with which to go about my quest. I shall aid you in any way I can.
Well, in that case, what kind of resources are you looking for? I don't have too much to offer in that way, especially with the harvest being threatened by the sudden cold snap. But perhaps information I can offer.
Looking for a specific way of combating the undead.
Oh, why? That sounds like you'll want to talk to one of the gods more suited to it, perhaps the Raven Queen.
The Raven Queen, eh?
Yeah. She's actually the goddess of death. She's one of the primary goddesses we worship here. I mean, death is everywhere no matter what you do, so you might as well be on good terms with the goddess of it.
Of course.
But I know that she has a particular dislike for undead. So I think that if you might seek out a temple to her, they could help you.
Perhaps indeed. Is there a location nearby that would be of such... Is there a temple nearby dedicated to this goddess?
Well, there's only, 3 roads out of here, so... One option would be back the way you came, the cities you saw. I'm sure every city has a temple to the goddess of death. So many people, so many die, you need a way to, handle it, if you take my meaning. Otherwise, you have other problems, so they would probably have very well, equipped temples in a city. That's back east. We also have the road which heads south. That will take you down toward the coast. I know that there's a fishing town, maybe 3 days journey down that way. Sometimes they send a boat up, and, short hike through the woods, and that's how we get fish here. But that's not too often, maybe once a month. Do that in exchange for our wood. Up north, I know that there's, there's a border. There's another kingdom up that way. We're outside of, their land, so we only pay tax to the city to the east. But I know we feel their eyes every now and then. We're mostly protected by the mountains, so... Oh, you probably couldn't see them on your way in the storm.
No, indeed. The terrain was... Let's see, the conditions were almost... Let's see. Once again, can't talk tonight.
It's alright.
See, no, indeed. I was nearly blinded by the storm, madam.
Well, on a sunny day, you would find that our little birchwood here is tucked in nice among 3 tall, spiry peaks. They say that there's a guardian at the top of the mountains that protects our town. I tend to just keep praying to Arathis. Is there any other information I might be able to provide you? I think that, if you're looking to deal with undead, I would go to one of those gods, maybe... If not the Raven Queen, then perhaps Pelor. He's the god of the sun, and he has clerics dedicated to just burning out the undead when they crop up.
This may be possible. Let's see. What if I should check for religion, too, to see if they are, in fact, opposed to one another? Being the gods of the sun and moon and all that.
You can check religion for it, sure.
Of course.
Try not to roll a 7.
Very well, if I do, I'm winning the jackpot at the casino.
777. Woof. That's not a 7, at least.
So
I mean...
That'd be a 3 with virtually no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, they hadn't really talked about Pelor too much at your temple. He just didn't seem to come up. You were aware that the god of the sun exists. They just didn't have anything really to say about him, so it's possible that there's some disdain or some reason that they didn't talk about him much.
Perhaps Vanessa knows in that case. I could ask her as well.
You could do that, yeah.
So, I beg your pardon, good Vanessa. It seems that Pelor was not a topic of much discussion at my temple. What do you know of this god of the sun?
Oh, well, I suppose that's a little bit surprising, but, he's, one of the primary gods of the Pantheon. People will tell you that he's a good fellow. He is a god of light and the sun. His followers are opposed to undeath, and they're supposed to be rooting out the evils of the world, both of man and those of fiends, so, they're pretty staunchly opposed to anything that they might consider wicked. Evil dragons, evil devils and demons, the chaos of the Fae they might set to straighten out. I've never seen a fairy myself, but I hear they're quite dangerous.
So the story goes. But, let's see, but is this god in any way diametrically opposed to Sayanine?
I don't think so. I mean, Sayanine's kind of, middle of the road, right? Very,
Indeed, yes.
I suppose if she had followers that were more evil, they'd be against them, but, I don't think that I've heard of any conflicts between the two temples. I only know the stories that come from down south and when the odd merchant comes from the city to the east, so I am sorry if my information's out of date, but I try to pay attention to it. the gods and whatnot. You find the right one to pray to, you can find yourself in a good fortune.
I don't need to apologize, Lady Vanessa.
Why?
I do appreciate your assistance in this matter.
Oh, well, there's
So thank
nothing
you
to
very much.
apologize for, of course.
I was saying no need to apologize.
Oh, no need to apologize.
Mhm.
No, I thank you. I would have spent a lonely night here, shivering in my bones otherwise, so I'm grateful for the conversation, and, especially, be able to hear your takes on the city and such like.
Of course, my lady. Is there
There's
anything I
no
can do
need to
to
be so formal with me. I'm just a woodcutter.
Even so, I'm not quite used to informality.
I think the world could do to have a few more like you who don't like to be so informal. It's refreshing.
I do appreciate that, my good lady. Is there anything I can do to assist you this evening as well?
Unless you know how to fix the storm. It'd be nice if we could, get our crops planted. That's
Is there anything that could have possibly caused such a storm to occur?
There's all kinds of talk. Folk, outside the cities, they spread all kinds of rumors and myths and the like.
Rumors of what sort?
Oh, the hunters in the woods, they normally wouldn't be trapping now because we'd be, living on the take from winter and pulling up the crops, summer harvest and then fall harvests would give us something to eat. But without that, we've had to send the hunters out again to go trapping. And, well, I'm just trying to see if I have...
All good?
I'm looking for written down here. I see 3 of my name. One of our trappers, old Tom, he's been talking up a storm whenever he comes back about, shadows and spirits on the mountain, whispering in the woods and watching him as he does his thing. And he thinks that perhaps there's some... I don't know... You've heard of the courts, right?
The courts?
The fairies.
I believe so.
Well, there's the Court of Summer and the Court of Winter.
Should I roll for any knowledge on that, or...?
Arcana?
Let's see, which is basically a big fat zip in that one, so we're gonna have to...
Cross your fingers so you get a higher number than his other very sad low numbers.
Good thing I'm a high roller, my friend. An 18. Called it.
Yeah, you're aware that in circles that talk about Fae, which are few and far between enough that it generally seems more like fancy or fantasy than anything else, people will claim that among the fairies of the Feywild, there are 2 kingdoms, basically, 2 courts. Summer Court and the Winter Court. And according to them, the Winter Court is a brutal and death-based group of fairies, where their power comes from decay, as opposed to the Summer Court, whose power comes from growth.
And does this Court of Winter also involve the undead, or just like just straight up bringing about death to anything in its way?
I'm certain that I don't know the details on it, but
Oh geez, I forgot my voice.
But well, Tom, he's certain that there's something flitting about in the trees that's gonna take his soul or some such nonsense. Can't blame the man. We're putting a lot of pressure on him to, feed the 9 houses here on slim pickings.
It does sound most ominous. However, it would not do good to allow this village to have to rely on its winter harvest to survive in the summer.
Considering there's not actually a winter harvest, that's true.
Or rather, I should say, having to rely on sustenance on what's being saved for the winter in the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Indeed.
English.
Our stores are short supply. If you want more information about it, if you think there's any merit to what these hunters are saying, I'm sure that I can knock on the doors. We can get you a conversation with them.
I will do what I can to assist.
It just seems like such a great burden to put on yourself. I mean, you're trying to change the weather. Yeah.
For a paladin, no burden is too great to shoulder.
She smiles at that. She seems to... You can see some admiration in her eyes, though she doesn't voice it. And she walks over to her clothing that she'd left by the fire and shakes out some water. They're now kind of soaked as opposed to covered in snow. Says, "If you'll wait here, I can bring the hunters. No reason to give them a scare. Do you mind?"
Not one bit, milady. I think that's for the best.
Just make yourself comfortable by the fire. I'll be back in a few. And after putting the clothing on, she steps out.
Very well. And I proceed to warm up by the fire and take in the surroundings. Just generally try to be more at ease in spite of the wintry environment.
It's pleasantly warm inside. Her residence is Spartan. She seems to have mostly just the necessities around. You do see a bit of textile work, some incomplete, so perhaps she is a person who makes these fabrics, these carpets and things. They seem to be beautifully patterned and dyed. But aside from that, there doesn't seem to be anything of real value in the house. It's mostly just the necessities of cooking, hung on the walls around you. You can see that she's got a salt box in the corner where she's probably curing something. There's some already cured meats hung on the walls, probably just as emergency stash. But other than that, it's pretty sparse in here. Like, she seems to be, not well off, not living, luxuriantly.
Mm-hmm.
And after, about 10 minutes, she does return. The door bangs open, and you look up to see her re-entering, followed by 2 men.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, Traveler, this is old Tom. He's one of our best trappers. And Victor, who's a bow hunter. And they can tell you about what they've seen up on the mountain. Boys, this is, actually, forgive me, I don't think I asked your name.
But I never offered it myself. I apologize. My name is Ordwin.
Ordwin says he's a paladin of Sayanine, and he's about looking for some help with some undead, but while he stopped in, he's offered to help with us if he can. So if you can just tell him whatever you know. He seems very eager. And the two men who are stripping off, hats and scarves seem to look
Mm-hmm.
skeptically at you. Um, Old Tom appears to be a dwarf male, and Victor appears to be a human male.
Very well.
And Victor looks you up and down, says, "So, what would bring someone like you out this far?"
I was merely stopping in for the night. I was looking for some place to go. Let's see. Furthermore, I am looking for both allies and resources in aid of a quest, and in return I will help you with any problems you may have as well.
Well,
Vanessa took the time to explain her situation to me as well.
so you know that we're experiencing some unseasonable weather, and
Indeed,
you
I do.
must be aware that the harvest is in danger.
Indeed, I do, sir.
And what is it you think you can do about it? And again, we haven't much to offer in the way of resources or allies, so why?
Let's see. Let's see. If not resources or allies, information perhaps would be the best I could go for. And if nothing else, no one should have to live in wintry conditions on their own, especially in the middle of the summer.
Well, you seem kinda keen enough, but I'm still a little, uh... You'll have to forgive us. Out here, we don't take to strangers easily. Uh, Vanessa being the exception. And she kind of blushes a bit and looks a bit flustered by him. You brought stories of the city, didn't you?
See, I must admit I did indeed, sir.
He steps forward, dropping wet gloves onto the ground, and sits down by the fire, leaning into its warmth. And the dwarf steps up behind him. Says, "I don't know that there's anything you can do about this. This is in the hands of the gods. Although, being a paladin of one, maybe you got their ear. Well, I guess I could take a chance on saying I don't know too much other than Boone.
Well, from
Boone.
what I'm sorry. Let's see. Well, from what I've had a chat, let's see, from what I've gathered so far from Lady Vanessa here, I understand there's a conflict between the Court of Summer and the Court of Winter, two diametrically opposed courts of fairies, one based on growth, one on death and decay.
Oh. You see, he rolls his eyes and sighs, dropping his head into one hand. Not this again. There's no fairies up on that mountain. Tom's crazy. I can tell you what is up on that mountain. It's gnolls.
No,
Those eyes watching him from the trees, it's gnolls. It's not fairies. Tom, stop telling people it's fairies.
Though to old Tom's credit, it is on. Just as equally crazy would be the wintry weather in the middle of the summer. Either way, the situation must be investigated.
What? I just found out that a meal I ordered, nice late night snack, got cancelled. I'm upset. Sorry.
That's okay.
Repeat the question. I heard everything else.
I was saying GG Cuber Eats. What was I saying? Ah, yes. I was saying, shoot. I was saying, My brain's going a bit fucky tonight. I apologize.
Okay.
But it was essentially along the lines of
You had been talking about the diametrically opposed courts.
yes, and then I mentioned then Victor so then Victor mentioned that Tom's crazy, that it was Knowles,
Yeah.
and I was mentioning that, saying, while the notion of fairies may be crazy, what is what is equally as crazy is wintry weather in the middle of summer. Either way, I think the incident must be investigated.
Well, I can't deny, obviously, that winter in the middle of summer is bad and crazy. But I don't think it's fairies. In any event, if you're gonna go up there, which it sounds like that's what you're fixing to do, he's gonna like stare at you for a moment, like looking for confirmation.
Mm-hmm. And
Then
I do indeed nod.
I would warn you that the mountainside is controlled by a pack of gnolls. They're usually active during the summers and hibernating in the winters. That's why we don't have to deal with them, because we do our trapping in the winter. Winter ended, summer came, they started hunting, and now it's cold. And that's right in the middle of when they're supposed to still be hunting, and we're not supposed to be there. And now we are. So, all the problems up on the hot mountainside are gnolls. Losing so much food up there, and they're pissed off because we're taking it too.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you this, if you can get rid of at least some of the gnolls up there,
Mm-hmm.
then I would be willing to give you any information you want once you come back. Anything I know. Just kill me a gnoll or two. It'll be that much safer.
Let's see. Very well, it shall be done.
I don't know what else is up there. I don't know why the weather's doing this. I just know that out 2 weeks ago, it started getting cold. And the wind started howling, and then the snow started falling. And they haven't stopped falling since then. Some nights it's worse, like tonight. But most days it's cold and snowy. And it was very recent. And because we've had to go grab hunting, trapping for the last fortnight, instead of planting or pulling up what crops we planted last fall, and it's probably all getting ruined. Look, I'm just worried about town going hungry. Even once we get rid of the snow, even if you were to figure out what's causing this, we're still going to be feeding people on the meat, which means that I still need to be able to hunt up there, in spite of those gnolls. So, that's what I want you to do.
You have my services, good sir.
Tom's got his arms folded in front of him. He's been quiet this whole time, just sort of waiting for Victor to shut up. And as soon as you make this promise, Tom seems to kind of lean to one side and scoff and say, well, if it's not fairies, then I says it's dragons. Because when it's not fairies, it's always dragons.
Dragons, you say?
Aye, dragons. It's either fairies or dragons. All the problems in the world is always fairies or dragons. If it's not fairies, it's dragons. If it's not dragons, then it's fairies. I caught a squirrel the other day, and it had 3 legs. That's not natural. Fairies playing with it, changing how many legs it has.
Hmm. And were there any signs of any injury on the squirrel?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that was probably the trap. Why?
Hmm. See, merely curious, good Tom.
Hmm. He looks uncomfortable.
You must forgive me. I'm not doubting you, just merely inquisitive.
Hey, Victor, looking thoroughly done with Tom's shit, stands up, like, brushing off the back of his trousers, and says, "The gnolls that are up there, dangerous not just because, they're wild animals, but they're smart. Not like human smart exactly, but, well, they have ability. They don't stay dead.
Hmm.
And so, you'll need something special to finish it off if you find one that's not dead, or that should be dead, that's not dead. They do this thing where when they run out of food, they just sort of eat each other, right? Cannibalism.
Hmm.
But, unlike when you kill any other creature and eat it, it's dead. The ones they eat, ones they take the meat from, those get back up.
Hmm.
They don't need to eat anymore. So they increase their strength, the strength of the pack, by eating them that aren't so necessary, and then getting them back anyway, only now they don't need to feed them.
An army that never goes hungry.
Now, it's not like they just make a living doing that. They do
Hmm.
that in the lean times. But I'm just telling you that because that's what you might see. And if that's the case, you're gonna need something. And I don't know you from a hole in the nearest birch tree, but I feel like you really do want to help.
Indeed I do, good sir.
Well, Ord, when was it?
Indeed, sir.
My grandfather had this knife crafted. When he was hunting, he pulls out this single-edged dirk from a scabbard on his back, in the small of his back, just a little sheath.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this blue-black steel blade with a, looks like a bone hilt, with the end of which is done to look like a fang.
Hmm.
He passed it on to my father, and my father passed it to me. And what I can tell you is that when those rotting bastards come knocking, you prick them with this, and they don't get back up.
See.
Some kinda blessing of death on the blade. I don't know the details. I just know that I don't use it for skinning, and I don't use it for boning. I use it when those gnolls come chasing after me. I mean, I would. I haven't had to myself. But it's what my father told me, and he had the scars enough for me to believe it's true. He said you always carry this when you're on that mountain, because you never know when the gnolls are gonna wake after you. I hear the howls, I hear anything, and I get to right the fuck out of there. Lately, I haven't been able to avoid the mountain, so I've been keeping it close. Long story short, Ardwin, I want you to take it with you and bring it back.
You have my word it shall return to you, sir.
Vanessa, is going to step forward and say, we also got together some clothing. It seems like you'll need something warmer than what you've got that you can borrow while you do the job. You know, not really payment, but like you can't do the job if you're frozen to death, right? So
Understandable.
we're very grateful for what you're doing for us.
Of course. And what can I offer you in return for this?
Well, you're doing the job. It's just, it's what's necessary, right?
But of course, in terms of something I can offer to you in turn to hold on to as a gesture of good faith.
Oh,
Think of it as collateral, so to speak.
collateral. I I wouldn't ask for anything. What do you think you should leave with us? What's important to you?
Hmm. Let me have a look. Just taking a look in my inventory as far as something
I mean, you can also make up a memento on the spot and then just make sure you write it down and say this is something that Ordwin carries.
I think I can do something like that. Sure, it would be something along the lines of like a carefully wood cut let's see what woodcut ornament that he carries with him where he goes with his with the mark of his family's crest on it.
Okay. If that is something that he holds dear, you can explain to her why it's important and why it could be used or should be used as collateral.
Very well. Let's see. Let's see that this wood cutting was the last vestige of my family. It let's see. It is proof that it is proof of our family's existence, and if you are to bring it to a temple of Seanine, they will know who I was, and they will take care of you in turn.
She seems to be absorbing the meaning of what you say. Alright. Then, when you have taken care of the gnolls, or fixed the winter problem, we'll exchange back clothing for this.
Very good. Again, I thank you for your aid.
Well, we, she, like, nudges the other two. They kind of, like, respond along with her. We're grateful for your aid, traveler. It was incredibly unexpected.
If there was one thing I was taught in life, Lady Vanessa, it is to expect the unexpected.
And so you are equipped with clothing that will keep you warm if you head up the mountain.
Right.
And this knife, which functions as a +1 dagger.
Okay. So mark it down as a as the gnoll killing dagger, so to speak.
Yeah. And so dagger is a d4 damage. So, and it can be swung with strength or dexterity. And so normally to swing, you use your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier. You would get your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier +1 on the to hit. And a +1 to the damage as well. So it'd normally just be a d4 plus strength modifier. Now it's d4 plus strength modifier +1.
So d4 +3 +1, so to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do a d4 +4 damage.
Gotcha.
If you use that dagger.
Mm-hmm. And that would qualify as slashing or piercing damage?
Daggers are piercing.
Gotcha. Let's see, and how about a hit modifier? That's still
It's going to
plus
be your
5.
proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier plus 1.
Okay. So the same as the other weapons in this
So
case
2
being
plus 3 plus 1, so 6.
very well. Let's see, I thought of a name for the weapon too in this case, Noel's Bane.
Noel's Bane.
I like naming weapons.
Boop. Okay. And that, you begin heading up the mountain.
Very well.
The blizzard has let up somewhat. Visibility is now maybe, a good 100 feet around you. But beyond that, everything is still just a gray or white haze. You can see a blue orb in the sky that is probably the risen moon, since it was getting on evening as you came here.
Mm-hmm.
Through the haze. And you feel a comfort in its light, even though it is occluded somewhat. Veiled, one might say. And I'm going to... Sorry. My mind early.
No worries.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna grab your token. I'm gonna move it with the arrow key so you can follow what I'm doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
See that I've got a second map set up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's right below the other one.
Very well.
And you begin moving up the mountain, which will be southward on this map.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to make a survival check as you are moving through this unknown terrain and trying to find signs of your quarry.
Very well. It's a +1 modifier to it, so let's see. And 20 sided once again.
Yeah, 20 sided.
Let's do it. All right. High rolling. Here we go.
Bad. 15. So the 15 on survival, you manage to make your way up this mountain in spite of the difficult terrain, in spite of the continuous heavy snowfall, in spite of the poor visibility, in spite of the biting cold. You manage to make your way up the side of this mountain and even find tracks that seem like perhaps fox or wolf's tracks, but too large.
Any means of identifying the tracks?
Nature.
All right. I may as well, let's see, is it possible to do a roll for that too, or?
Yeah, you would roll a d20 plus and add your nature to it.
Gotcha. In this case, that would be a big fat Zilchamundo. All right, high rolling. Here we go. Or not. That's okay. So got a 7 on that.
Alright, with a 7, it seems like between the two hunters, that Victor is the one who's being proven correct, as he described Knowles as these beastman creatures. They're like bipedal hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
And they are carnivores, and they are wild. And that is what these prints seem to indicate to you. You see several tracks in the snow as of an uncoordinated group moving around. You can see, as you follow the tracks and um, and examine them in the light of the moon, which of course, as the whole area is covered in snow, I'm sure you know, that means the area is all pretty well illuminated, even in the gloom, just because the snow all reflects the moon's light.
Very well. And given my affiliation with Cyanide, does it also have any effect given that the moon's out?
You feel like it does. You feel like you can see better. You feel like you're more aware of your surroundings. You feel more confident in the moon's light. You do find darkened areas where fresh snowfall has covered up spots of blood dropped by these creatures as they haul a kill. And as you move up, you hear some sound to the south up ahead. Something moving through the snow piles and scrabbling in the underbrush that is covered by the snow. You hear something approaching you. What do you do?
In this case, I would try to determine what it. Let's see, try and turn to see where it's coming from and determine what it is.
It seems to be coming from up ahead, a little off to your right, so the left of this map.
Mm-hmm.
Among the rocks and trees off that way, and it sounds like it's heading toward you.
Is there any cover I can take cover, or anything I can take cover behind in this case?
Yeah, you could move off to one side of the trail or the other and sidle in among the rocks or trees, but you know that you'd be putting yourself at a disadvantage if this is a creature that is hunting you. You would be trapping yourself.
In that case, best to stay in the open.
It feels like that is the right call.
Mm.
Your training tells you that.
Very well. In that case, stay in the open and proceed cautiously.
Okay. You're going to draw a weapon?
Let's see. I keep the Let's see. Keep the glaive ready just in case.
Okay. So you've got the glaive in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So you draw your glaive and prepare for something. Anything. Whatever it is that's making this noise. And after a few seconds after you make this weapon ready, a creature bursts. Can I not retrieve things that I put on the GM layer? Hold on, I am not as adept. I'm trying to retrieve something that I put on the GM layer. Like, so it should be invisible to you, but I should be able to freaking manipulate it.
It's all good.
Yes. Yes? Okay. There we go. That's dumb. So, layer. Token layer. Boof. This creature that looks like maybe a wolf or a gray fox bursts from the trees at the side of the path and is running straight at you.
See, does it pose an immediate? Let's see. Silly question. Is it posing an immediate threat that is ready to attack? Fangs bared, anything like that?
It looks wild. You don't know what it's going to do. It looks like it might be coming straight at you to attack. You could roll insight to try and figure out if it intends to attack you, but it's going to be a pretty tough one because it's not a person, and it appears to be a wild animal. It really does like giving you sevens.
Let's see. Well, I do have a 3 modifier for insight, so I may as well give it a try.
Alright.
I like taking chances.
Big roll, big roll.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, you really can't tell. This thing could do anything, and it is heading straight at you. The only thing you know is that, the
So
path is narrow and surrounded by rocks, so you're also kind of in its only route here.
in this case, assume a defensive posture and prepare to defend myself.
Okay, so you're gonna prepare to defend. But you're not gonna actively attack.
At least not yet, anyway.
Okay. The
Or
creature charges straight at you and then past you.
mm-hmm.
Do you attack it as it moves away?
Let's see.
Sorry, let me be clear about that. In combat, when an enemy
Mhm.
moves away from you, outside of your reach, you get the ability to use a reaction to attack it as what is called an attack of opportunity, because it's not defending itself well.
Hmm.
So, would you like to attack it as it passes you? You don't have to, but you do
Gotcha.
have the option.
Very well. Hang on 1 second. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
No worries. I'll take care of that.
Huh?
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night. Sorry about that.
Alright, so,
I'm
you
back.
have the
So,
opportunity to attack it, but you don't have to take it if you don't want to. It seems to have run past you. Appears to be a
hmm,
gray fox.
let's see. And those aren't much of a threat in this case, or
I mean, you know that they are carnivorous hunters.
hmm.
They rarely hurt humanoids.
Let's see if that. Let's see. See, I may as well take it down, bring back a fresh pelt for them or something like that, in case they needed some more meat or or a pelt, so to speak.
Okay. Then, if you would like to make an opportunity, you will swing whatever weapon is in your hand, so in this case, the glaive.
Mm-hmm.
You can strike it when it's up to 10 feet away from you, and
Mm-hmm.
you will roll a d20 and add 5, I believe.
Okay. And at 5, so that'll be an 8 in that case.
um, it manages to run past you and avoids your blade.
All right.
It keeps running away.
All right. In that case, let it go.
Okay. What is your passive perception score? Rather, tell me, what is your perception score?
Perception score is currently at a 1 right now.
Okay, so your passive perception is 11 because it's 10 plus your perception score.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As this thing runs past you, and, the adrenaline of the moment, deciding if it's going to attack, and then deciding that you want to take it as a prize, passes, you do manage to keep your sense of your surroundings, and you hear the snapping of underbrush and the crunching of snow as a creature approaches.
It must have been fleeing from something then.
So yeah, you would have. This thing would have got the jump on you as you were distracted by the fox. I just need, like, any token.
Hmm. At which point, what's he muses to himself, saying, "I mustn't get too jumpy. It was only a fox after all."
I'm gonna use what makes the most sense here. I just need a token. A token that doesn't look dumb. Sure. This thing stalks up to you and not get to make its attack at advantage. It still rolls well.
No, eh?
You turn, and you see a creature, the image of which I'm about to send you, as it raises its nasty spiked weapon and swings it at you. But this is not... What? Copy. Sorry, it just resent the link. Why is it just resending the link?
I don't know. Why is it resending the link?
Weird. I can't get it to... Sure, whatever. That. You see this creature before you. What looks like it may once have been a canid that walks on two legs with elongated arms. The scraps of leathers and fabrics to cover itself, and in many places over its tawny body, exposed bone and rotten flesh. It looks as though the meat has all been stripped away. And it is going to attack with its club. It got a 20 to hit.
So basically, maybe taking a very nasty hit at this point.
So you're going to compare that number 20 to your armor class, your AC on your sheet.
My armor class is a 16.
16. Right, because you don't use a shield, you have a two-handed weapon. So 20 beats 16, so you take a hit. So up at the top, you should see your HP. You're going to take 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. So put me at 8 currently.
Okay. And then it's going to attempt to bite you with its exposed skull teeth. And it gets a 8 to hit, which will miss against your 16 AC. So it goes to bite onto you, and it just gets a mouthful of plate mail, or chain, I guess you're wearing, and doesn't manage to pierce your skin. So you take no damage.
Alright, I gotta really start, doing some extra damage to this thing and quickly.
That is it for its turn. It is now your turn to declare actions. On your turn, you have your action, which you can use for things like attacking, casting a spell. You can equip a shield as an action. If your weapon wasn't drawn, and you just have a single weapon, you can draw a weapon and attack as the same action. You have a movement, which is up to your move speed, which for a half-elf is 30. You can move 30 feet. You also might, depending on your class or fighting style, have bonus actions, but primarily you have an action and a movement.
Okay. Let's see.
So, just so that you're aware, you can move anywhere around him as long as you stay directly next to him, and he won't get to attack you, but if you move away, because he's using a weapon without reach, he'll be able to attack you immediately as a opportunity attack.
In this case, I'm going to try and keep my distance while attacking with the glaive.
Okay, so are you going to step back?
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, definitely step back and then attack. Well, so that I'm still in range.
Okay, I want you to understand that if you step back to utilize your range, he will get an opportunity attack and be allowed to attack you again right now.
Gotcha. In that case, stay where I am and then.
Okay.
All right. Whichever is the better of the two options.
One of the things you can do is you can do a shove attack, which replaces one of your attacks. You only have one attack, so it would replace your attack. But if you can beat him in a strength contest with shove, you can shove him away 5 feet. Unfortunately, since you have no allies and you don't have any more attacks, it doesn't really help you in this case, because he'll just move back up and attack, and the shove doesn't do damage. So I do recommend just attacking.
All right, in that case, let's go for it.
Okay.
So D10 plus 3 in that case.
D20.
Let's see. So
And I've lost our music. What?
let's see. This is not looking good so far.
What did you get?
Rolled a 2.
Ah. Good. There we go. A 2, and that's plus 5 is 7 is what I'm hearing. Yeah, that he, despite being bone and sinew and wooden weapon, seems to dodge this attack.
I thought it went in between.
And he's going to circle around you, chattering his canine teeth at you, before attempting to strike again from the side. Scoring a 13, which you manage to deflect with your glaive.
Perfect.
And then he attacks with his bite, scoring a 12, which you again manage to avoid.
All right, good. So anything below 16, I'm safe.
Anything below 16, you're safe. 16 or higher, it hits you.
Gotcha.
Alright, it becomes your turn again. He's circled around you, and you've been deftly defending yourself against his attacks.
Alright. In this case, turn around and hit him again.
Okay.
There's no way I'm losing to a friggin' undead thing here.
No.
Not to the very creatures I've sworn to destroy.
Alright.
Alrighty. D20, here we go.
This D20 doesn't like you. Do you have any others to use?
Should I roll the one on my desk right now?
Please.
Okay. Come on. High roller. 19.
Okay. Is that before the 5? So you got a 24, is what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Nice. That's definitely going to hit. So you'll roll the damage dice now, and a damage die for a glaive, I think, is 1d10 slashing. So it'll be 1d10 plus 3.
That's right. Let's see, roll D10. Rolling a 2.
Okay, so you deal 5 points of damage.
Okay.
And he has more than 5 HP. So you slash across him with your glaive and take a chunk out of his midsection, chopping through ribs and remaining sinew, and you kind of see his chest kind of cave on itself a little bit as he seems a little less supported. But he is still standing. And he chatters at you some more and swings his club again, getting an 8, missing, swinging wide and getting it stuck in the snow, And as he bends down trying to pull it out, he gets a 17 to bite you.
Mm-hmm.
The bite deals 4 points of piercing damage.
Alright, so I'm down to 4 HP then.
You got this!
I sure hope so, otherwise I'm dead in my first quest of the first monster. Alrighty, let's see here. Let's see, rolling once again for a d20. Do I have any healing stuff with me by any chance?
All players have the ability to, if they can take a short rest, they can spend hit dice to regain HP.
Okay, I'm probably going to need that when this is over, if I survive it.
Yep.
Okay, so...
Roll that good d20. Get another 19.
High roller. 17.
Alright, good enough for me. So, 23 to hit, you hit. Your glaive once again bites into its undead body.
See, but how much damage will it deal? That is the question.
1d10 plus 3.
4 plus 3, so that's 7 damage.
7 points of damage. Which is exactly enough to kill it.
Very good.
Its body, bones, and sinew clatter to the ground, its weapon dropping into the snow, the haft of it sticking out.
Let's see, now I'm wondering, too, is there a way to make sure that this thing stays dead with the Knowlesbane, so to speak?
One way to find out.
In this case, do I have the ability to walk over there and stab it through the skull or whatever?
Absolutely. If you want to do that, you can just pull out the dagger and stab it.
With the Knowlesbane, yeah, make sure it's down.
Yep.
Let's see, do I roll dice for that too, or no?
No, it's not moving. You're gonna hit. Just tell me the damage by rolling 1d4 plus 4.
Okay. Rolling d4. That's a 2.
So 6.
Okay.
Alright. You take the Knowlesbane out, its blue-black metal gleaming in the light of the moon, and you drive it down into the skull of this fallen gnoll. And as you, as the bone snaps and parts around the blade, you see the whole thing engulfed in a low, cold blue flame that engulfs all of the bones of its body, and after about 4 seconds, they all have been reduced to a black, fine ashen powder on the top of the snow.
At which point, Ordwin whispers, "Be gone, foul beast."
The night becomes once again quiet.
At which point, I think Ordwin is going to take some time to heal himself.
You find a spot off the trail, kind of sheltered by some rocks, and you dig out the snow a bit and huddle yourself up in it. Sit for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
As the night carries on.
To think that I was almost defeated by one of these things. Surely they are no joke.
But you have done what you believe is right, and ended this one. So, you are a paladin, which means you have d10 hit dice. You are level 1, which means you have 1 hit die. So you may take a d10 and roll it.
Okay. High roller.
I really think this die roller doesn't like you, and you should just stick with real dice.
Okay. Alrighty, here we go. High roller. wait, this is a D12. Whoops.
I rolled an 11 on a D10. Wait.
And it was a 3 anyway.
What does the actual D10 say?
Let's find out. Come on. High roller. Rolled a 6.
Alright, 6 is far better. And what is your Constitution modifier?
Constitution modifier is... Modifier is +2.
Alright, so you regain 8 points of HP up to your maximum.
Perfect, so I'm back at full health now.
Boom! As you sit here for an hour, huddled up in the borrowed furs and contemplating the shining blue-bladed dagger in your hand, thinking about these creatures and the fact that they asked you to kill one or two if you could, you now understand why, despite them telling you there was a pack up here, they only asked for you to kill a couple. They're quite dangerous. You begin to notice, beyond the fringes of your thoughts, beyond your reverie, that the wind seems to be coming from directly up the mountain steadily, and you can see drifts of snow being picked up and curled by it, and that it does not change at all. And you expect that over the course of an hour, in the middle of what appears to be, a heavy snowfall or storm even, that the wind would be whipping in all directions and changing regularly as the air pressure drops drifted around. But this seems to be a steady gale blowing from above you, up the mountain. And you notice that the wind itself is colder still, like beyond wind chill. The wind itself seems frigid. Colder than the air you're already bracing against. As though it is winter-touched.
Definitely not the work of definitely not the work of any ordinary weather. Something magical is afoot here. I can sense it.
What shall you do? You have completed the task that Victor gave you, which was to kill a gnoll.
Let's see, in this case, shall I collect the ashes of it if they're still around? Or did I already do so?
If that is something you would have wanted to do, you can try to do so. Carrying such things is difficult. You might have just, scooped them up into one of your pouches. But it's not like you've got, like a plastic baggie or anything to keep it in. How would you do it?
I guess perhaps bring it in one of my pockets or a pouch or something.
Okay. So you dig your hand into the snow and try and scoop up a healthy amount of the ash, which it does seem to just be a fine black and gray ash, and deposit as much of a pile of this as you can into your pouch, knowing all the while that you're also collecting a healthy amount of snow with it, so it's going to be wet when you get back down there.
Perhaps this wasn't the smartest of ideas. Ah, well.
It's not like it'll hurt too much. And the snow will stay frozen for now. And now, I would say, you've got an infinite number of options, I suppose, given that it's a role-playing game, but most obvious to me as DM would be you could continue on looking for more gnolls to hunt for this hunter. You could return with the one gnoll that he asked you to kill, or you could try and find out what is making this place winter by continuing your search of the mountain.
I would say continue on and attempt to find another knoll, as well as find out what's making the place wintry in this instance.
Mm-hmm. But
let's see, in this case, onward we go.
alright. So, are you going to continue following tracks, or are you going to head in a different direction? Is there anything else you want to investigate? Is there anything that seems intriguing to your character?
Let's see. In this case, I would say head up the path and search for tracks along the way.
Okay. You know that the icy cold wind was blowing from directly up the path. Is your intention to see if you can figure out why the wind is following this path?
Yes.
Okay. And that is your intention. You continue, in this case, southward along this path, rounding a group of rocks. And as you do so, you can feel... You know how when you're working inside a building and you pass under, or walking through a mall, and you pass under one of the vents for the air conditioning?
Mm-hmm.
And you just get blasted with a stream of cold air from directly above?
Yes.
You feel that as you round the rock formation over here. And you look up and see that the mountain slopes up to this jutting rock formation, and you feel the air coming from this direction. Like, you move further forward past it, and now it feels like the wind is blowing you from behind. So you feel like whatever this pile of rock jutting from the mountain is,
this one over here
seems to be the source of the seems to be the source of the wind. And you see, as you round it, this opening, this maw, this cave entrance.
It would seem as if someone did not want visitors here.
As you draw close to the entrance, you hear voices from within. You hear, I would say, 3 distinct voices. 2 of them sound squawkish, almost like a parrot that's been trained to talk, that kind of pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And the third sounds like an infant crying. And you can hear the squawkish parrot-like voices arguing with each other, alternately consoling the third voice and asking it not to cry.
Seems to be a family and their child.
You speak Draconic, right?
Let's see. So yes, indeed, I do.
You know that all of the talking is taking place in Draconic.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually understand the argument as the 2 squawkish voices seem to be determining, what and how and where to acquire food.
See, I wonder if my character has any food on him as well. Okay, he's got a day's worth of rations, but still.
They do have rations, which are basically like hardtack and cheese.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Are you going to stay out of sight at the entrance to the cave, or are you like peering in?
In this case, trying to let's see. In this case, I would let's see, put my weapon away for now, but let's see, and take a look in to try and not give off an intent that I'm hostile.
You put away your weapon and you peer around the edge, and what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are a half-elf, so you have, dark vision, right?
Let me see here. Let's see, dark vision, dark vision, dark vision. Yep, up to 60 feet, yes.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Wow, I am only just now realizing that I never explained that each square is 5 feet.
No worries.
And in this edition, like with 4th edition, I don't make diagonals cost more, so it would still be like 5 feet this way, 5 feet this way. It would also be 5 feet, 5 feet, 5 feet. Previous editions had it increase, and, you know, logically that makes sense, but I found after they did it this way in 4th edition, it just makes everything easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as you peer around the edge of this cavern, peer into this cavern with your dark vision, the light of the moon reflecting off the snow outside, giving it enough light, you know, that you can make out what's in there. You see what appear to be several statues of these small reptilian creatures.
Hmm.
And you see among the statues of the small reptilian creatures two that appear to be moving, and they appear to be winged. And it appears
Dragons.
that the voices are coming from the back of the cave where these creatures are located, as well as the cries and sobs of the third infantile voice.
So it would appear to be a family of dragons and they're young.
You can roll nature.
All right. Let's do it. High roller.
I roll it.
Got a 15.
Um, you know that these creatures are far too small and humanoid shaped to be dragons.
Mm-hmm.
They are reptiles of some kind. Um, honestly, that's a 15 total.
Mm-hmm.
You are aware that there are small reptilian creatures that are known to be pests in many areas, as they serve the interests of dragons by stealing and hunting, and that they are called kobolds.
Hmm. The very first enemies I encountered in my very first D&D session many years ago.
Goodness. Sorry. Hello.
All good?
Yeah, I'll come down and get it. Thank you.
I got Uber Eats.
What? I reordered my food and it just got here.
Very nice.
So if you'll excuse me for 1 minute, I will go
No
retrieve it,
problem.
and then I will
Sure
come
thing.
back. Okay, so now that food finally arrived. So, you recognize that these are probably kobolds, given their description.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 of them that have wings, which is unusual for kobolds. Not unheard of, but unusual. And they seem to be tending to a crying creature beyond them that you can't see past their wings.
Let's see. See, considering I do speak Draconic, I'm wondering if it's possible to perhaps make an offer of assistance.
Okay. What are you going to do?
See. Let's see. Perhaps get their attention in a non-threatening way, and make it known that I'm aware of their plight, so to speak.
Alright, so describe me this non-threatening way. What do you do with your body, besides not have a weapon in your hand? Where do you stand?
See, in this case, something just occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
Standing in front of a cave, in the middle of the snow, without weapons, potentially with your hands in the air, to a couple of kobolds looking for meat. May not be the best solution, because they may think you are about to become food.
Maybe, but you do have that weapon if you need it.
True. Let's see, in this case, I would come forward, holding my hands slightly forward as a gesture of peace, and then make an offer to perhaps hunt for food for them to help.
So you're going to have the food in your hand already?
Something like that, yes.
Okay. So you step forward into the cavern with your hands out in front of you, at least one of which is holding one of these rations, which is a small wrapped package containing things like bread and cheese that is prepared in such a way that it doesn't go bad quickly. And you call out in Draconic, get the attention of creatures. And they whip around and spread their wings. And you can see their reptilian eyes, dilating in the dark as they look at you. And they shriek in their shrill voices. Say, "Ah! Intruder! Who are you? Go away! Go away!"
See, in this case, let's see. I can assure you I mean you no harm. I heard of your plight and wish to offer you assistance in any way I can.
No, we do not need your help. We can take care of it. You leave! You are danger!
In this case, let's see. As you wish. I'm sorry. Let's see. Forgive me for disturbing you.
Roll, insight as you walk out of the cave.
Yeah, definitely. Insight. 4 plus 3, that would be a 7.
And roll active perception, so d20 plus 1.
D20 plus 1, got it. That would be a 13 in that case. 12 plus 1 being 13, rather.
As you got inside the cave, got closer to what was going on, you realize that the statues of kobolds that were scattered around the ones hiding were not statues. Realize that they were kobolds that are frozen solid.
So in this case, they're in the same situation as whatever's on the mountain.
Eventually, you are aware that whatever's going on there, they're hiding something.
Let's see. So what to do next? Let's see. I'm saying back to them in Draconic, along the lines of I can sense your brethren are frozen. I do not wish the same fate to befall you as well. If you'll give me a chance, I can help you acquire food.
Interloper, the others are frozen because they were not worthy. We do not need an outsider's help to care for the god.
Unworthy of whom?
Unworthy of God. Leave! Leave! You too will share their fate.
As you wish. In this case, Ordwin backs away from the cave and makes his exit.
Alright.
And all the while trying to figure out which god they were referring to.
Okay.
Let's see. Does he have any knowledge of the gods the kobolds worship?
Yes. You know that kobolds worship dragons. As gods.
Any specific dragon in this instance?
No, dragons. Whichever one they can serve.
Gotcha. So in this case, whatever's causing the snow may very well be from an ice dragon.
Maybe.
Let's see. Let's see. So whatever they were hiding from, definitely something very powerful and something very close by, I can imagine. And the weather's only getting colder from here. In this case, we may as well look for some fresh tracks and see if we can find any more gnolls to take down.
I want you to roll investigation as you're thinking over what you just heard.
Alright, in that case, let's see here. Let's see. High roller. 14.
Okay. You play back this interaction, thinking about all the implications and what you know about gnolls, realizing you know they serve dragons, you revere them as gods. You know that as you approached, you heard a third creature which you did not see. These other two appeared to be shielding something, and the third creature appeared to be crying, whining like an infant. And the words that these two kobolds used in your presence was, "We do not need the help of an outsider to care for our god."
So whatever's crying in there, that must be the cause of the snow.
What will you do?
See. Let's see. Determine. Let's see. Trying to determine what could possibly be done to remedy the situation. See, Is there anything out there that could possibly be used to, let's say, like live game or something like that can be hunted and left at the door of the cave?
And there was that fox. Pickings seem pretty slim, and you know that the town has been relying primarily on its trapper, Old Tom.
So in that case, maybe some time to search for another fox or something. Unless there isn't one nearby.
You can do that. I will let you do that.
All right. Any rolls that I should make towards this, or
Survival.
okay. D20. High roller once again. Got a 19 on that.
Okay. You begin hunting around in the rocks and trees nearby, looking for small game that you might be able to snatch or stab. You do manage to scare free a rabbit of good size. I want you to roll an attack against it with whatever weapon would be in your hand.
Let's see. I'm wondering if the so it would be in my hand. Probably be the glaive in that case. It's pretty close to hand.
Okay. Wing the
And then,
glaive.
okay. Let's see, D20 first, and then D10.
Yep.
Okay. Got a 7.
12. Check. Rabbits. Oh. They are very nimble.
I'm guessing it didn't hit.
You miss as you thrust at it, and it runs away, which gives you an opportunity to actually make a second attack.
Okay. Try again. There we go.
Okay. Manage to cleave this rabbit in two as it hops and almost makes it into another snow pile away from you.
Mm-hmm.
The white snow is splattered red as the rabbit squeaks a couple times before dying. Have 2 halves of a large rabbit.
All right.
What will you do now?
Let's see. I'd say bring the 2 halves to the entrance of the cave and leave it there for them to find.
Okay. Place it at the cave. You see open wounds on the creature steaming in the cold as more blood dribbles out the ends. After some time, the kobolds do not seem to have noticed it. They're still arguing over what to do. They seem to be telling whatever the third creature is in there that they will help make it a good god, a strong god, one to be feared and worshipped. And after a while of this, you finally hear the crying break up a bit, and you hear in a weak voice in Draconic as the creature coughs and sobs and says, "But I just want to go home."
So perhaps the dragon's being held against its will.
will you do?
See. What will I do in this case? Let's see. I would say get their attention once again and ask of them. Let's see. The one you claim as your god. Is it indeed your god, or a kidnap victim?
You can see the frustration and the tension of the backs of the creatures before you as one of them growls before spinning on you and says,
"Ah, you are a meddlesome creature! It is our god, not yours! Get away! Go, or we will feed you to it!"
Let's see. Anything else I can do in the meantime?
well, they're yelling at you?
Yeah, that wouldn't quite necessarily provoke a confrontation right away. To gather any further information, like I can just like gather on the fly, so to speak.
I mean, you can try talking to them and see if they'll answer your questions. If you don't know what to ask, you can roll, like, persuasion or bluff, deception to try and convince them to answer some questions or trick them into answering some questions and just tell me what it is you want to gain, and you can roll it against them. But your options are like roleplay it or roll it.
Let's see. Perhaps I go for some persuasion on this one.
Okay. What are you trying to get out of them?
Also to figure out to figure out why it says it wants to go home, why it's being kept there.
Okay. I rolled persuasion.
Very well. 3 plus 4.
The creature seems unimpressed by your arguments and your...
Not surprised there.
your glibness. It simply seems annoyed that you're still here, and shrieks,
"I will count to 3, and if you're still here, we will feed you to our god! 1, 7, 18, 9, 3!
Also about to be God Chow. Or will I?
You may roll initiative, just to see if you go first or not. Oh man.
Okay.
Rolling like a beast.
Got an 8.
You got an 8? Okay. They're gonna get to go first.
Figured as much.
They rolled very high.
Yep.
Alright. Oh. It's over here. Oh. There we go. Alright. So, this creature has a move speed of 30, 5, 10, 15, 20. It hops into the air and its bat-like wings carry it across the room. And it's going to take a swing at you with a small, poorly made blade that it seems to be carrying. Scoring a 12 to hit.
Against a 16, that basically is nullified, I think.
That is a miss.
Mm-hmm.
So your armor and your fighting protects you. You're able to deflect the blow with the haft of your glaive.
Mm-hmm.
The other one launches itself up onto one of its frozen former compatriots and leaps into the air, flying at you, producing a club and swinging it at you. Scoring a 24 to hit.
Oh boy.
So that will beat a 16, and you will take 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
When he got into range, they seemed to move in a serpentine fashion, like circling around you. They very clearly are synergizing.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes your turn.
All right.
You've got the glaive and the dagger. What do you do?
Let's see here.
And as they circle around you swinging, they're just chanting,
Become food! Become food!
Let's see. In this case, let's go. Let's see. I'll hit him with the glaive.
Okay.
I roll
Okay.
it.
You manage to hit one of them with the glaive. Which one would you like to hit? Just not that it necessarily matters, but have some agency.
Let's see. The one with the blade. It seems like it'd do more damage to me.
Okay, that's this one.
Okay. Let's see. D10. 2 plus 3, so that's 5 damage.
5 points of damage. Alright. You manage to slice one of the wings off of this creature's body as it howls and crumples to the ground, grasping at the stump on its shoulder, screaming in pain. It is prone.
Okay.
When a creature is prone next to you and you make a melee attack against it, you have advantage, which means that you roll 2 dice and use the higher of them.
Okay.
It writhes on the ground, screaming,
Bastard! Bastard! I can't! Kill it!
Let's see. So what happens now in this case? Do they attack now, or
well, that is all of your turn unless you wanted to move somewhere, but do remember that when you move away from things, they can attack you. However, as long as you don't move away from it, you can move around it.
is it possible to move around one of them in this case to try and get the advantage?
As much as I wish 5th edition hadn't removed so much of the tactical movement, but you can, like, move, you know, around it like this. This one would be allowed to attack over here, but because it's prone, it would have disadvantage, so it would be less likely to hit you.
Makes sense to me.
So if you wanted to move to, say, here, that would mean this one would have to move to try to get at you.
Gotcha.
And
So in this case, I move to a more advantageous position.
Okay. Alright, he will, as he's writhing on the ground, shrieking, take a swing at you with disadvantage. That is still a 17 to hit. He rolled a 12 and a 14.
Oh boy.
So he's going to deal you 5 points of piercing damage with his dagger.
Alright, so that's 4, down to 4 HP then.
Woo! Been here once before.
I don't see my guy getting out of this one.
The other one gets a 10 to attack you. So he misses.
Okay.
They have definitely lost their synergy while that one is not moving.
Okay.
It becomes your turn again.
All right. Let's wail on them.
Your damage needs to roll above a 2.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. That's a 14. Roll d10. Please give me something better this time.
Roll a real d10. That's so dumb. I hate these online rollers when they just roll the same number over and over again.
I was gonna say, are you fucking kidding me? Okay. That's a 5.
Alright, and a 5 plus 3,
plus
right?
3, that's 8 damage, yep.
Alright. You, slash at it with your glaive and cut across its throat.
So basically, this thing's dead, eh?
It falls to its knees, gurgling blood out through the hole that you opened up before collapsing, rasping, croaking out its last on the ground before you.
At which point at this point, my character says to the other kobold in Draconic, I didn't ask for this. I only wanted to help you.
Thing, as it exhales its death rattle, you just hear in Draconic,
I was worthy.
Some beings will never learn. And so
it
one
becomes
remains.
its turn. It hobbles to its feet, clearly pissed, tries to make an attack at you. Scoring a 13.
Just below 16, thank God.
Misses.
Perfect.
Making it your turn.
All right. Here we go. See, rolling a 9.
No, heal this scare! He was my brother!
Let's see. I'm guessing it didn't do much to it.
9 plus 5, right? So 14?
Okay. So did I get it?
A 14 will hit, yeah.
Perfect. Let's see, D10. Roll D10.
Okay. Give me 8 points of damage.
That thing is super dead at this point.
Oh, yeah. He had 2 HP.
I guess they have 9 HP or something like that.
They have 7.
Gotcha. That's right, I did 5 damage to it at one time.
You are beaten and bloodied and
still
exhausted and cold.
But still alive.
You can feel the trickle of blood from the wound the kobold opened up with its nasty little dagger, flowing out into the cold, cooling your the furs you're wearing and freezing solid.
Do I have any means of patching up the wound?
Yeah, you can, manipulate your clothing. You can cut some of your clothing into and make a way to bind it, a tourniquet or a bandage to stop the bleeding.
Very well. Let's see, what should I roll for that in that case?
I wasn't gonna make you roll. It's simple enough. It'd be something that your character's trained to do.
Very well, and then Any means of resting for a brief while to recover some HP, or
You've got no hit dice left for the day, unfortunately. You only have the one, and you used it earlier.
Gotcha.
They recover daily.
I see.
So, you are now alone in this cave with a bunch of statues of kobolds, and you can hear the sniffling of the third creature at the back of the cave.
Let's see. In this case, Ordwin limps his way forward, still trying to staunch the bleeding a bit, and then attempts to converse with the creature.
Okay. As you approach it, you notice it kind of sidles back toward the back wall, hiding itself behind one of the frozen kobolds, and it peers around it at you. It does look like a baby dragon.
In which case, let's see, I put my weapon away, let's see, and make it clear that I'm not going to hurt it. Let's see.
It stares at you, wide-eyed and intimidated. Not, stock still, hoping that you won't see it and maybe go away.
Let's see. I can assure you, I mean you no harm.
You say this in Draconic?
Yes.
It, hides itself further behind the kobold momentarily as you speak. After it seems to realize that you're speaking its language, it peeks its head back out. Says, I want to go home.
See, where did you come from? Again, in Draconic.
I don't know. Just want to go back to Mom.
See.
I got lost in a storm. And then these guys, they said I was a god. And they wouldn't let me go home.
Perhaps there might be a way of bringing you back home.
I don't know where it is.
Perhaps we can find your way home.
I know it's where you can see everything.
At the summit of the mountain.
It seems uncertain and scared.
If you wish it, I can take you there. It's all right.
You won't hurt me.
You have my word. I will not hurt you.
I want to go home to Mom.
We'll find her. I'll do my best to bring her back to you. Bring you back to her.
The creature slowly maneuvers between the frozen kobolds, out where you can see it better. And you can see, by the light of the moon and your dark vision, that its scales gleam as a silver dragon.
Let's see. Now, do silver dragons have the ability to command ice in this case?
Silver dragons are cold dragons, yes.
Which would explain the weather.
Good.
And if a dragon like that is crying like that, it could possibly incite a snowstorm in the middle of the mountains in the summer.
It seems a possibility.
Let's see. Ordwin asked the young dragon, "Are you hungry by any chance? We should." Let's see. There's some fresh meat by the front of the cavern, and I don't mean the kobolds. I mean the rabbit.
I can have it.
All yours.
It's going to move wide around you,
Mm-hmm.
watching, like, never taking its eyes off you
Mm-hmm.
as it slinks toward the front of the cavern, finds the rabbit, and it gets a part of the rabbit into its mouth before finally, like, breaking its eyes away.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a bite and immediately watches to see that you haven't moved.
Mm-hmm.
It eats
This
the
one,
rabbit.
at this point, I remain perfectly still, as if to show that I'm complying with its wishes.
I got lost in a storm, and I was falling, and then I was here, and these creatures, they said that I was a god, and they wouldn't let me leave. I don't know where Mom is. I think she's up high.
Let's see. In that case, we shall take you higher. If you'll allow it, I'll help you find her.
Hey,
I can assure you, you're safe now. These kobolds won't hurt you anymore.
thank you.
Though I can hardly say the same for myself, I'll do my best to protect you.
They hurt you?
And quite badly too, but I've survived worse.
Knew they were bad. Maybe something here can help you. They take things. They tried to give me things, but I didn't want them.
In which instance, he begins looking around trying to find something of use.
You become aware that there are other wings in the cave.
Of course I should have realized that. It's been a decade since I last played, please forgive me.
You haven't done anything wrong.
Let's see. At which point, are there any other... Let's see, is there a way for me to check if there are any other enemies that could be lurking around?
Perception?
Alright. Let's see, D11. Let's see. Perception roll plus 1, so that's a 12.
Okay. You don't, at least not nearby, you feel like this cave is void of life except for you and the dragon now.
Very well.
You may go and search the other wings. Roll a search check.
Okay.
Investigation.
See, it's a 17 for, let's see, that's the investigation. That's 0, so that's 17 right there.
Alright.
Motorin.
So you're going to find several objects that clearly were taken from humanoids. Like leather bags, backpacks that contain, clothing and jewelry. Some coins. If you go through it, seems to be like maybe 10 gold worth, comprised mostly in silver and copper.
Okay.
And in one of the bags, you do manage to find several small glass vials with cork stoppers.
Okay.
A few different colored liquids inside, two of which are red, with little glimmers of light floating inside.
Okay.
One of which is orange and cloudy, and the last one is clear, except for whichever way you turn it, the top appears to be like, almost like a thunderhead, is what it looks like.
Let's see, so potentially a healing potion and potentially a damaging potion of some sort.
There were 3 different kinds. 4 total. 3
Alright.
kinds.
See, so 4 potions, 2 red, 1 orange, and 1 of the clear.
And 1 clear.
Okay. 2 red potions. Is there any way of identifying them?
Got 17 on investigation. Yeah. You're actually going to find within the bag that there is a note
Okay.
addressed to a Vilgar saying, I had my friend concoct these potions for your journey. May they serve you well, just so that you can keep them straight. The red ones will heal your wounds. The orange one will keep you warm. And the clear one will allow you to travel quickly back to me.
So one's a potion of return in that case. If you catch my drift.
It seems it could be.
So we have healing potions, a warming potion, and a return potion. Alright, so I'll mark them down on my sheet real quick, and then 10 gold, you said?
Yes.
Alright, so where's the currency on this thing?
I believe it's all the way at the bottom. On the PDF, I'm not sure, because I don't use the PDFs too often. I usually just use Beyond itself, and on that, it's just under inventory, and it's right at the top. So, wherever your items are, look at the top of the items section. Might say currency there.
Let's see.
But you should have 15 gold already, and then this will be another 10.
Let's see. Let's see. Looking at the PDF, I'm looking through the it's the paladin features. I can see the features and traits. Oh, here we are. GP. There we go. I see it. So 10 more is to make it 25. Perfect.
There you go.
And the potion's like 1 pound each or something like that?
They're half a pound each.
Gotcha. Just trying to keep it straight for the text over here.
Would you like to try utilizing the healing potions?
Indeed, I would. I'll use one of them for now.
Okay. Then you are going to roll 2d4 and add 2.
2d4, add 2. Got it. So, let's see, 4 and then plus 2, that's 6.
That's how much HP you regain as you drink this glimmery red potion that seems to kind of fizz as it goes down your throat, and you feel the wounds on your body beginning to close up rapidly.
There we are. So I'm back to 10 HP.
And out of 12 ain't bad.
Mm-hmm. Ah, much better. Let's see. So that's in the one wing. Anything else I should be aware of in the cave, or that I can investigate, or is that both of the wings
That
were
was
open?
it. That's pretty much what you came out with was 4 potions, 10 gold worth of stuff, and a backpack, an extra backpack if you want it.
Very well. In this case, I'll store the ashes in the spare backpack.
You scooped them out of your pouch and put them in there.
Yep. Let's see. At which point I'm going. I'm going to have to wash these later, aren't I?
Oh, you also have the note to Vilgar, explaining the potions.
All right. I wonder who this Vilgar character is. By the way, I should have to thank him for this and explain his friend's situation.
Is it true what they said? Am I a god?
See. To the kobolds, indeed you are, God.
Like them.
But I can assure you, you are free to be whatever you wish to be.
God sounds hard.
It does indeed. Far too much in the way of responsibility.
Are you a god?
Me, good heavens, no. I am a simple traveler trying to make his way in the world.
Thank you for helping me.
It is my pleasure, and may I ask your name?
I have the name of its mother. Hold on. Why wouldn't I have its name? Because it's always just the cub.
I'll make something up for in this case.
I will. Give me a second.
Sure.
Faster when I have a pen in my hand. Oh.
My mom named me Erie.
Erie. That is an elegant name. You may call me Ordwin.
Win. Do other gods have names like Erie?
Well, let's see. Let's see. Should I roll for religion on that one?
Sure.
Let's
But you can also just think about the gods you know about.
see. Well, let's see. Well, the goddess that I worship is named Selenine. She is the goddess of the moon.
Ayanine is a really long name.
Let's see.
Oceanine, Corellin, both Arathis.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. There's also Loth.
Seems like a short name. Like
Indeed,
Erie.
it is. Indeed, like Erie.
Erie could be a god like Wolf.
Indeed, you could. Let's see. Do you wish to be a god, Erie?
I don't know. Sounds hard, and I have to deal with them.
Indicates the frozen kobolds.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Well, Erie, should you choose to be a god, let's see. You are free to have whoever you wish to worship you.
Really?
Indeed, you do.
Would you worship me?
Let's see. What worship you, dear Erie? But of course.
Hmm.
He seems to fluff up at this.
And gods can fly, right?
They certainly can.
I can't fly yet.
Let's see. But take heart, Erie. One day you will.
Mom can fly. She's got big wings.
And one day soon, so shall you. And you shall fly high among the clouds, soaring
Like
past the moon.
clouds. Where's my mom?
What was that? Sorry.
Where's my mom?
Let's see. If the place you were looking for is where you can see everything, she must be at the summit of the mountain.
What's a summit?
The very top of the mountain.
It sounds high.
See, but if you've made it this high once before, you can make it again.
I was born up there.
And we shall take you back there.
I
find
never
your mother.
left until now. Don't
It is
know
all right.
how.
It's all right.
Like, flops sideways in the snow and, like, just goes dead weight. Useless.
No, it's too far. I'm lost.
See. Would it help you any if you perhaps rode on my back?
Maybe.
I can bring you home, little dearie.
This dragon wormling is about as large as you are. It climbs up, wrapping its claws over your shoulders. You can feel them gripping into the furs on your chest. It is not a lightweight, but you are strong. You begin hiking up the mountain. As you go, I need you to roll survival.
Okay.
You take some tumbles. You have a hard time getting your footing. You are
especially with a baby dragon on your
yeah.
back.
The child is upset at all the falling, but some of the tumbling in the snow it finds fun. It does mean that this takes you a very long time to really gain ground, and eventually the clouds dumping snow begin to thin, and the area around you begins to illuminate. You realize that it is not the pale blue of the moon lighting things, but the red of dawn. And in the dawn light, you realize that the reason the clouds are thinning is that you are moving above them as you continue to climb this peak.
Mm-hmm.
The air starts to thin, and you have to move more slowly and force deeper breaths. But as you look up this steep slope, moving from handhold to handhold to keep your balance and to stay on this mountain, you notice something above you, glimmering in the dawn light. You see what appears to be built into the mountain at the top, built out from it even, a city. Styled, I would say, like the Greek Parthenon, comprised of white stone columns, built tall as opposed to wide, into the peak of this mountain. And there is a winding staircase mostly covered over by snow that you can see above you. You're soon to reach it, which will make your trip easier.
Excellent.
You continue your climb, several times almost falling off the mountain, once saved only by the dragon itself digging its claws deep into the snow and grasping stone while holding on to you with its hind talons. But you eventually make it to this stone staircase carved into the mountain itself, and the first thing you notice is how old it seems. The stone, crisp, hard, cracked, and sharply edged, scaled over with frost.
Oh, wow.
It looks like mortal feet have not touched these steps in ages, in eras of man. And as you climb them, you see carvings along the sides of this path, as it cuts its way into the mountain some, it gains walls, if not a handrail, of course, and these carvings appear to be of serpentine creatures flying through the sky, circling about an orb that you believe to either be the sun or the moon. Believe these creatures to be dragons.
Which would make sense. This has to be the creature's home.
You see that as you progress up, these carvings seem to depict the flying serpents coming to the mountain and bestowing something, a gift that appears to be like an orb of light, upon a people that look like humanoids. This is all interpretation from who knows how old these carvings are. But as you move up these stairs, the carvings become, more and more numerous and depict more and more humanoids alongside these dragons, these serpents of the sky. And finally, you reach a plateau on the staircase, and you see, stretching away from you, is a road probably 40 feet across, lined on either side by stacks of what can only be described as buildings, like high-rises, all built of the mountain within this alcove on the side of the mountain, facaded with these columns that are scrolled with more of these carvings, seeming to depict this magically inclined civilization living atop a mountain next to these flying sky serpents. And this 40-foot wide road, ends, say, 200 feet up into the mountain, as a solid wall, broken in many places, chunks of rock, stone of the wall itself resting on the ground below, having fallen out as it's the time and weather and who knows what else occurred here took its toll on this place. And next thing you notice, as you get up here and the awe of this sight rolls over you, is you feel this thrum, this hum, this rhythmic vibration echoing through the cavernous place. And as you continue stepping forward, you realize that it is the bellows-like breath of a huge creature.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Eerie. Does this place look familiar at all to you?
Dragon Wormling seems to look around a little skeptically at first, and then it looks back at you with an almost blank expression, and then it kind of, you see its eyes seem to sharpen, and it smiles in a reptilian way at you. It says, "Yeah, this is home! Mom's here! Mom!" And he starts, lizard slapping its way up the main road, serpentining from side to side as it shouts excitedly in Draconic, "Mom! Mom, I'm home!" And you notice, as it runs up this street toward the cracked wall at the back of this cavern of a city, that the thrum stops. The rhythm is broken. And you hear this lurching, creaking, cracking noise. And from one of the large breaks in the facade of the building at the back of this cavern, you see a sky blue eye with a reptilian slit appear in the shadow as it dilates and contracts, looking down the roadway directly at you as you stand framed in the sky by the city on either side. You hear this lurching, grinding breath as the eye disappears back into the shadow, and there's a rush of air as you see dust and debris and snow get blasted out of the hole and rain down over the street as Eerie continues running up it. And he stops in front of the building and is just like hopping excitedly up and down, screaming that he's home, he's home. And suddenly you feel the air around you shift, change. You hear this rushing of air as though great wings are beating against it. And you twist and you find that the sky is now home to this gleaming silver serpent that seems to be spiraling around the mountain peak and swooping in to land behind you, cutting off your escape.
Mm-hmm.
And it slams down on the ancient stone, cracking the roadway around you and sending dust and snow and debris into the air and raining down around you as this large silver dragon, which I believe I can just send you a picture of. Oopsie. Boom. And when I say large, that's a misnomer. It is colossal in size, meaning it's, 6 size categories larger than you.
That is a magnificent creature.
As it slams onto the ground, you can see that it is easily 50 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And it bends its neck and lowers its head so that it can look at you up close with its eye, and you just see these fronds, these whiskers and fins, rippling with its breath and brushing against the stone of the street as it bends down and brings that one sky blue eye up to you and says in a menacing, low voice that echoes through the place inexorably, "Who are you?"
My name is Ordwin. I came to return Eerie back home.
Why do you have my child?
I had found him in a cavern surrounded by kobolds. It would appear he was taken against his will. He had begged me to return him home, and so I sought fit to return him to the summit of the mountain. He had mentioned that his home was where you could see everything, and so I presumed it was the summit.
And so you had nothing to do with his disappearance.
I can assure you, I had nothing to do with it. Eerie will vouch for me in this case.
Very, aware that his mother has landed over there by the unmistakable sound of her crashing to earth, has skittered back this way excitably and is hopping around your feet now.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I was lost. I fell in the storm, and Ardwin helped get me away from the bad guys. Sorry.
She eyes the child severely as he trails off. Says,
Very well. You have traveled far to help one you do not know. And you have returned my troublesome child safely. What do you ask of Rimarin, goddess of the skies?
I'm looking for a means to locate a necromancer, as well as the means to take him on. My family was slain by the sorcerer, and I seek to find a means to bring my family back to life, and to exact vengeance upon this creature. By the same token, I also seek to help the village of Birchwood. It would seem that an unseasonable winter has taken hold over this area.
She seemed distracted and word.
What's that?
She seemed disinterested by the talk of this necromancer and killing, but then you talk about Birchwood and you see that her eye focuses again on you.
Mm-hmm.
And she rumbles deep in her chest and says,
Destructive humanoids are numerous and eternal. I think little help can I offer, unless you can point him out, and I shall devour it. However, Birchwood, this is a town I know. They have paid homage to me for generations of years. If you have paid this tribute in the form of returning my child, I can grant them my boon. Do you wish this?
I do
Or
indeed.
Then it shall be done.
she is going to she's going to twist her head so that now her nostrils are faced straight at you, and she's going to come forward quickly, her jaw parting, and she's going to snap up the child by the scruff of his neck. And she's going to raise her head up to full height again and step directly over you.
Mm-hmm.
Without even seeming to try. You are not an obstacle. And you see her stomp down the wide lane and stick her head into the very hole that you saw her eye appear in before. And you hear the muffled yet echoey voice in Draconic as she tells the child,
This time, stay in the nest.
before she extricates herself once more and stomps back towards you.
Do you wish to return to Birchwood?
Yes, I do.
She nods, closing her eyes knowingly.
Then I shall take you.
You have my gratitude.
We are even. No gratitude is required. You saved my child. I shall save the town and spare you a most unpleasant trip.
She's going to stretch. You can hear bones cracking, and she's going to lower her midsection to the ground as it slams down, kind of quaking the ground beneath you.
Mm-hmm.
She cranes her neck around and says in a gentle tone,
I'm on my back. And hold on tight.
Let's see. At this point, Ordwin climbs onto the dragon's back and holds on for dear life.
I have not visited Birchwood many years. It will be interesting to see any I once knew remain.
and she will stomp toward the staircase, spread her great wings to either side of you, and then leap into the air, beating her wings against the ground. And you are bucked and tossed as she rises into the air and then spins into a dive down the steep slope. You feel as though she is enjoying this. It is challenging for you. Several moments you feel like you're going to lose your grip and fall to your death. But you manage to hang on. And she skims high over the town. You can see the buildings below you, and slams down onto the ground, sending a wave of snow out around her. And you notice the town is a good distance away. She lowers herself for you to climb off. You know that from here it'll probably be, a good 15, 20 minutes walk through the snow to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you climb off?
Yes, I do.
Once you are deposited into the snow, you turn back and find that she is in the middle of transforming herself. The great silver dragon is shrinking before your very eyes and takes on the form of a human with silver eyes and nail polish and silver streaks in wild black hair. Says, "Let us see what I can do for your village." And you walk together. Upon reaching the village, you find that all of its inhabitants are gathered at the front gate. All 12 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Including Victor, Old Tom, and Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa especially seems to be happy that you have returned. Victor seems a bit surprised, and you can hear Old Tom mumbling about fairies. As you walk up with this now human version of Ramarin, you approach the village, and Vanessa steps forward and says, "You came back. I wasn't sure we'd see you again."
To be fair, I wasn't sure if I was going to come back either, but I can assure you, here I am.
I can't believe you survived an entire night up on the mountain. It must have been freezing.
Older than you could imagine. And yet, I bring back proof. Let's see proof of the knoll, in which case I hand over the sack with the ashes in it.
Victor
As
takes,
well as
yeah.
as well as the blade.
Yes. Victor takes the ashes and the blade and says,
Thank you.
well, thank you. What exactly am I looking at?
The results of what this blade has done to a knoll. These were skeletal creatures. Once I stabbed the knife into the knoll's skull, it caught fire, a bluish fire, and disintegrated into ashes.
Ha! 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 Ah! I knew my father was telling the truth. I knew that if I got to use this blade one day, everything he had said about it would be proven right. Nobody believed that my father was in possession of a magic dagger. And you certainly killed one of the gnolls. That's what this is?
Most assuredly.
Well, I think there's more to the pack up there, but damned if this won't help. You've made it safer for me to do my job up there. It's more than payment. I'll answer any question I can. Give you whatever help I can. I've got a wagon if you need to go to town.
That would be most beneficial. I appreciate your aid.
Old Tom kind of comes up, his fingers laced and compressing, and loosening, alternately. And he says, so, how did ya find the courts of the fairies?
Well, to put it in one way, old Tom, as you said before, if it wasn't fairies, it was dragons. And indeed,
So it wasn't fairies, but it was dragons? Is that what you're telling me?
indeed it was.
It's like I always say. It's just like I always say. If it's not fairies, it's dragons. What kind of dragon? What did it look like?
In this case, a silver dragon, a youngling. I helped return it to its mother, the goddess Ramarin.
Everybody there kind of stops for a moment. And you kind of hear like a random voice from the middle of the crowd just go, "She's real?"
Indeed she is. As real as you and me.
And Vanessa calls your attention again and says, That's that's amazing. I mean, your mum tells you about things like this, but you don't see it yourself, so is it real? Maybe. Probably not. Wow. Well, what did she say?
She said that as return for saving her child, she will do what she can to help resolve the unseasonable weather that has been plaguing this village.
That's great. You've saved us. I don't know how, but you've done it. She does seem like she's going to approach. She's opening her arms to throw them around your neck. You going to let her?
Absolutely.
She throws her arms around your neck and embraces you. You've saved us. We don't even know you, and you saved us. How can we... I wish I could have answered your questions better.
Thanks are not necessary. It is the least I could do to help people who are in need.
She lets go of you and takes a step back. You know, smiling, clearly misty-eyed. Finally says, I feel the fool. I didn't even ask. Who's your friend?
My friend over here? This is the goddess Ramarin.
I don't know how high your character can count, but more jaws hit the floor. Yes, sir. What?
It has been some time since she last came, as she has told me. But she has said it would be interested to see how things have been going on since she was away.
Streak-haired woman, her silver fox pelts, steps forward with a very smug smile on her face. She says, yes, it is true what this half-elf says. I, the guardian of Birchwood, who watches on high from the mountain. You have not been paying your tributes to me lately. Luckily, paid it. And so, I will help clear the snow. And I will keep it clear as long as you keep paying me the tributes that your ancestors used. We had a good relationship for a long time. And people slowly forgot, I think. This blizzard was not a punishment. Normally I would not care. But I miss this place and these people. Somewhat. So, I think we can make this new arrangement, yes? And the people in town looking aghast between you, the humanoid dragon, and old Tom, of all people, just sort of dumbly nod. And this nod slowly spreads across the group. Before finally, Victor says, yeah, I think we can arrange for that. Tributes. Good weather. And you see from next to you, Ramarin's lips split in a smile. Says, excellent. Well, I'll get to work on the snow while you see to this man's needs. And she turns and starts to walk to the side before stopping and laying a hand on your shoulder, and says with a silver glimmer in her eye, good work, hero. I hope you'll find what you are looking for. And if you need help to kill the man, you can ask, and I might answer.
Let's see, thank you for all you've done as well, Ramarin.
All I did was forget my duty and lose my child. Not much to be praised, but don't tell them that.
Let's see. Even so, please give Erie my regards as well.
I am certain I will be hearing about you for years to come from that child. It will be done. Now then, you have something to go celebrate, I think. I have snowed. And as she steps away from you, she seems to begin to grow again back into her full dragon form. And she begins moving snow with her wings and her breath off of the roads, off of the trees, and uncovering crops nearby, many of which have wilted from their long time under ice. Some might survive. You are welcomed back into the town. You're able to exchange your clothing for the item, and by the end of the evening, the snow cleared away and the power of the dragon put back in check. You feel a warm breeze passing through the place, and think that maybe, by tomorrow, it will be temperate enough for you to get that ride back east.
Excellent.
As a epilogue side note, did you fancy Vanessa?
Indeed, I did.
Well, congrats to you. She did you as well.
Excellent.
And it was a pleasant night.
I can imagine, yes. Well, you know what they say. There is no peace for the wicked, but the righteous can get a peace whenever they feel like it.
I don't know what that means, but I do hope that you're going to allow me to tour the city when Victor takes you tomorrow.
Indeed.
And with that, your first adventure. What'd you think?
I thoroughly enjoyed that very much. I still need to do a lot more with regards to role playing and the like, and I need to get better at intuition and stuff like that, but fairly easy to pick up, I think.
I try to keep it simple. I think you did excellent. There was definitely nothing to be ashamed of.
I don't know, not saying I was ashamed at all whatsoever. It's just, on seasons I'm not used to it. It's something that I need to get familiarized with.
Yep, exactly.
I can't tell you the first time I played Corporation, I got thrust into a full on multiplayer round with a bunch of seasoned pros.
Oof.
So
is there a lot of roleplay in that, or is it more tactics?
Absolutely roleplay on that.
Okay.
So that was a bit of a trial by fire on that.
Nice.
But it was still a lot of fun. But back on D&D, this was definitely an adventure to remember, I think. A lot of close calls. And let's see.
You went down to 4 HP twice against enemies that dealt generally 4 HP damage.
Mm-hmm. And she's one more for one more 4, and I'll have the designation for the for Spare Squadron from Ace Combat, the 444th Squadron.
There you go.
Yes, perhaps my lucky number is 4 after all.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Well, I think you did great. I think if you have an opportunity to play with other people, you're going to do great. So I'll see if I can set that up for you. They're too long.
That would be awesome.
Definitely a pleasure running this one for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of my favorite one-shots that I've written, just because it's very compact and it's very feel-good at the end. Like, you've done if you want to play a hero, this is a good one for that. You feel very heroic.
Absolutely, yeah.
I try to make sure that all of my games really tap into the parts of Dungeons and Dragons that people wish they had more of anyway, so I try to make sure that my games somehow at some point center on dragons, just because they're cool. So many games you play they don't have any dragons. I remember I saw a post recently where somebody said, I've been in 5 campaigns so far and I have yet to see a single dungeon or dragon. Like, not here, buddy. You're gonna see dragons in my campaigns.
Mm-hmm. And well, the snowy cave on top of the mountain qualifies as a dungeon, I think. Anyway, just not a very big one, but still
a little mini dungeon, a little itty bitty dungeon.
Exactly.
Well, I think you did great, and I hope that you had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Glad we finally got to play. I know I mentioned it so long ago, it seemed like it was never going to happen.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad we had a chance to do it too. And again, I appreciate you doing that, man.
I love D&D. I love D&D. It's a genre I can really get behind. I like all the stories I can tell in it. I like the setting elements that I can use. There are other games that I enjoy, but I always come back to D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream at least.
Very
And
good.
yeah. Congratulations, Sirius, on your first game in forever, and you're definitely your first 5e game.
Thank you very much.
Looking
I'm just glad.
forward.
I'm just glad that I survived.
Hey, close calls and pulling it out in the end are what make D&D fun. And you
Exactly.
just gotten to walk through it with no challenges, man. I mean, might have still felt okay, but it wouldn't have felt as cool.
Exactly. It needs to have that edge, you know.
Yeah.
And by the same token, too, it kind of reminded me a bit of the Mandalorian in a sense, with trying to find the baby dragon and bring him back home.
Yeah. It is kind of like that, isn't it? I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't even thought about
Co-
that.
Coming into a town there, and then let's see, offering the kobolds assistance there at one point.
Yeah, the
In a
kobolds. Kobolds, unfortunately, aren't terribly bright, and they're very
in a sense.
territorial.
Mm-hmm. In a sense, it's kind of like the opening scene with the bar going. He offered to bring something hot to food. They left cold. I can bring you in hot, or I can bring you in cold. What's it gonna be?
Neither. No, then they die.
Cold it is then. Oh yeah, by the way, did I send you this? But it was a